Really? Hi, hello. It's Sandy from Doux Designs. Ready to get some crafty time with you guys. So I hope you all are around and going to be popping in shortly. So tonight, I'm just trying to pick up my desk just a little bit because there is a lot of stuff on my desk right now. But I was thinking, and I threw a little pun in there in the description to give you guys a heads up on what we'd be working on tonight. So, hey Meg. So we're gonna work with the tea and coffee time. We're gonna use I Love You a Latte. And we're also going to use, so we have lots of stuff to use tonight. So we're also going to use the Sassy Club Meal Dies. So there's an entire cup here. And then in the set, you get like a Happy Meal with the big smile. And the top, the cone shape for the top of the cup. So we're going to play with that. I kind of already did the die cutting, so you guys wouldn't have to sit through that. And also, I have chosen the Copic colors that we're going to use. We're not going to be using a latte of Copic colors. However, we are going to be coloring this little guy, but I think we're going to put him on craft paper tonight. So, hey Meg, if you could just say hi so I can make sure comments are working, that would be super great. There it is. Thank you. So I think we're going to make this a slimline card because this die is so tall. It's going to need to be on a slimline. And I thought about doing it without, but I want to put my monster off to the side. I don't want to put him right in the middle of the cup. Otherwise, I would have made this a whole card, just the card itself. So I chose some pieces. I went with the slimline card that was in like vanilla with some brownish color background. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't know a whole lot about coffee or lattes or any of that other stuff. However, I know I have a lot of friends that are, so we're going to do it. Hi, Christy. So I cut this die right here. This is one big full piece. And when you cut it, it actually cuts this piece and this piece separately, so that you can make this just a soda where you just put the topper on there like that and it can be a soda can. Or you can do it with this topper, which is also in the die set on the back. And you can place this topper on the top. It also gives you some options for straws, but I think we're going to use this one tonight. And then I decided to make this a pumpkin latte in light of Halloween. So, hi Dina. So I cut the topper in orange as well, and then it cut the top part of the coffee mug. So I just cut off the top and the bottom so that I'm going to be able to use that as a decorative piece for that. And I haven't decided on what color the straw will be. I also couldn't decide on what color that would be. So I have all the pieces, and when we get to that part, we'll judge it based on what our little monster looks like. But I love these dies. I think these are really, really neat right here. So, hey, Michelle. So, yeah, this one is from the Sassy Club, this die set. And then this is from Pajama Crafter Stamps, so you can see right there. It's tea and coffee time. It's this cute little monster right here. He is very caffeinated. And then there's a birthday sentiments, you're terrific, I love you a latte. There's also tea and tea bag, or this could be a coffee cup depending on what you like. There's also some cute little hearts. We're going to use those tonight for sure. So I went ahead and pulled out the pieces that I know I want to use. So I Love You a Latte and the hearts and then our little monster. So we're going to go ahead and get him stamped up. It's great to be back crafting. I did not take any markers or anything with me when I went to Vegas. So there was no coloring for several days. I felt like I was in some kind of withdrawal. But we did travel on like Frontier Airlines, so we could only take a backpack, or we had to pay a lot for suitcases. So yeah, we just decided to take our backpacks and get going. So this is my press pop. I'm using it just to press down all my stuff so that it stamps nice and clean and crisp. Since it's craft paper, I'm going to do it a second time just to enforce the outline for me. We are going to have to cut this guy out because I don't have the dies yet. They're on the way. I will have them when Joy gets here tomorrow. There we go. So we're just going to do that a second time. And see how our sentiment is. I think I want to do the sentiment again, but nothing else, just the sentiment, because I want the sentiment to be very dark. So I'm going to actually switch to my VersaFine Clear. This will bleed if you try to Copic color with this, so don't do that. So that's why we're only going to put this on our sentiment. And then we're going to stamp on there because everything else we're going to use the Copics with except for the sentiment. So there we go. And now that's really much, much better. Very dark, crisp. I like this VersaFine Clear. It's Nocturne. I like this ink pad. So if you're looking for one to stamp crisp, dark black sentiments, that I love it. I love this. Just saying. That's just my personal opinion. I love it. We all want to know what everybody thinks, so that's my 2 cents on that ink pad. I'm just going to wipe this off. I'm not going to put it away or anything. I don't like my stamps to be stained, although this one is, I've stamped it a lot already. So I'm taking off the hearts because I want to stamp them again, but I don't necessarily need to move them around on the Misty. I'm just going to use my my awesome block here that I got from Sassy Club, and I love this block. Seriously, it's like one of my favorites. Hey Lynn, thank you for popping in. So I want one more set of hearts, so I'm going to just stamp one more on there, maybe 2. I don't know. I'm feeling a little spunky tonight, so maybe I'll do more than one. We might put hearts all over this little page. I mean, we'll have to cut them out, so you know, I might color them and then say, yeah, no. But we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling when we get to that point. But anyway, I wanted a few extra hearts, so there we go. Now we have those ready. But I love this block because you can hold it so easily. It has like this little grip right here. I love it. Anyway, I got it at the Sassy Club, and I loved it so much that I bought 2 for when I was stamping in my planner, because sometimes when you're doing the days of the week, you need more space. So I would put Monday, Tuesday, and then flip it over Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, so that I could re-stamp them over and over and over throughout my planner, and I needed more than one, so I bought 2. Just saying. Not that that's of, you know, any other value other than my opinion, but I thought I would share. You know, sometimes we all want to know that, and sometimes you know, we don't. So tonight we're going to use Copics. However, I did want to tell you guys that I got all of my Olos in. Now, the shipment arrived while I was in Vegas, and they are right here. So I can give you a quick sneak peek. They are all right here in all their beautiness. In this, they're already in a case and everything. And so we will be doing some coloring with Olo a little bit later on, probably in November, as soon as I get a little more savvy with the markers. That way you can see some marker colors with Olo and with Copics. That way you get kind of a little bit more bang for your buck to watch my videos. So just saying. Hey, Thomas. Okay, so I want this to be a pumpkin latte little guy. So these are the colors we're working with. So I chose orange. My little monster is going to be orange. He's going to have blue jean pants on, and he's going to have brown spots because he's just so full of latte already that, you know. And we're going to match his coffee cup, or his latte cup, with this cup. So it will be brown and it will have an orange strap on it and so forth. So we're just going to kind of work with those same colors so we can make that all come to life. And we'll see how it is in the end. I'm assuming we're going to give him blue eyes because he's going to have blue jeans, and that will kind of be cohesive. I don't know about the hearts yet, but let's just roll and see what we end up with. So let me grab my Copic stand real quick. Okay. And these are also available at Pajama Crafter Stamps. So we have a Pajama Crafter and Sassy Club night tonight. I'm going to zoom in. Hi, Peggy. So you guys can see up close and personal this cute little guy right here that we're going to color. And I know sometimes when you see images like this, it helps for someone to color them so you can like really get a good feel for what the artist had in mind when they drew it, what they wanted it to be colored, or you can just go on your own and be rogue. It's up to you. So to get started, I think we're going to work first with his little, what I call sesame seeds. They kind of look like sesame seeds to me, but you know what I mean. But before we get rolling with that, I'm going to do the pink, a little bit of pink in his ears and his tongue, so we can get that part to dry before we get into the rest of it. So normally when I do skin tones and I do blush, I use R11. But on this craft paper, you can't really see the R11 so much. So I've decided, I went all the way up to R22 in order for the pink to really show up against the background of this craft paper. Hey, Mom, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling good. Hope you're doing okay. So anyway, so I had to jump up to about R22. So if I were you, when you color on craft paper, you'll want to test your colors because this is R11. So it wouldn't come off quite as much as pink as what we have with R22, and that's why I chose a different color than I normally color with. So it takes a little bit of adjusting when you're switching colors on craft paper. Tired? I bet you are. So next, I'm going to go ahead and work on his little sesame seeds. So for that, I have chosen E29. I skipped 27 and went to 25 and E23. So these three are the colors that I chose. Yeah, I bet. I'm so glad everything went well. E29 is the one we're going to start with. And this one, I'm going to put this under, hold on, let me cut this paper a little bit so I don't go off camera while I'm coloring. That way, when I turn it, you guys can still see everything. We're going to color the underside of these in this darkest color to kind of make them stand out a little bit. I have been trying to go through all of the Olo markers and get the system set up and laundry and everything because I will have company starting tomorrow. So yeah, lots of stuff going on here in my little household. And then he has a few down here on his arm because while he's wearing little shorts, he's not wearing a shirt. I did not give him a shirt. I gave him spots instead. But I did, you can color him without shorts, but some people colored him without and some people colored him with, but it's up to you on what you want to do with that. Yes, everyone sent prayers and positive thoughts your way. That was awesome. E25. So this one, I'm just going to add a tad. It's almost not even enough to notice, but I'm just going to be adding a little bit of this. The one that's going to make the most impact, the last color. So some of them might not even get any of this color, but I feel like I need just a little bit of reinforcement on that darkest color. Okay, E23, that's our last one, and that's the one where we're going to fill in the rest of the little spots. And I'm not blending them out, I'm just adding the color like in a light coat on top because I want to leave that variation between light and dark for these spots. So I'm not really blending them, I'm just putting in the color. Now, if you missed the colors on any of these and you'd like to know what colors I used, I will always post them in the description under the video on YouTube once I upload it after we are finished tonight. Okay, now we're also going to do his cup in brown, so we might as well do it while we have these colors out. So here's the E29 again, and I want it to be the base of the cup, so I'm going to go ahead and start filling that cup in. Right around his hands is where there'd be a lot of shadow, and up under the lid of his cup. And then down here, there'd be a little bit of shadow underneath this coffee apron or whatever you want to call that. And because it's round, in order to show that it's not a flat object, I'm trying to add a bit of darkness around the side that would be curved. So I hope everybody's doing okay and saw the pictures that I posted last night of our trip. We did zip line all the way down Fremont Street from one end to the other. It was super fun. I'd highly recommend it if you go to Vegas and you're not afraid to zip line. It was very, very fun.
And it's easy to walk to get some awesome donuts.
And well, we did it because we didn't want to walk all the way down Fremont to go to the donut shop that they have at the end of the street. So we rode on the zip line over there and then ate a donut from the awesome donut place. And they were amazing. Those donuts were so good. What was it called, honey? Pink something?
Pink box.
Pink box. Pink box donuts. That's what it was called. Okay, so now we're just blending out that last color to make that a smooth transition there. And as you can see, it looks really smooth and pretty. So that part is finished. I tend to do this back and forth motion. Not a lot of people do that, but that's just how I found it to blend better for me. You find your style and do that, because that's what'll make it easier for you. Now, I think we're going to make the top part of it a cream color, and I didn't pull out the colors for that, but I think we're going to try 55, 53, and 51. How did I miss you are a fellow Texan? Guess your accent is just too familiar that I didn't catch it. Yes, I am a Texan. I am just outside of Dallas. Let's try this one. This is 55. That might work. And this is 53, E53. Pretty similar on this tan paper. And this is 51. So I think that'll probably work. We need to sort of focus on using 55 a little bit more, because once it dries, it's super light, but I think it'll get the job done. I did not know you were a fellow Texan either. Hold on, the cord on my phone just fell in my lap. Okay, I'm good now. Okay, so we're going to work on this part up here. And since this is sunken in, I'm going to make that a bit darker than all the rest. And then this part where his hands are, this part is kind of sunken in as well. So while I'm going to put a teeny bit on the outsides of these, I'm going to put more on this part because it's needs to show that it's hidden a little bit under there. Then I'm going to do along these sides just to show, hopefully to show some dimension on that little cup. You're in Austin, but live very north of Dallas. In Sherman, my sister lives in Sherman. I know exactly where that is. And I used to live down in Killeen, so I was closer. So you were probably up here while I was down there. And I did live in Austin for about 2 years, maybe, when I was college age. There we go. And then the last one is going to be E51, and it'll look the same color until it dries. It just needs a little bit of time to dry. I live on 82 between Bonham and Sherman. Yes, Mom is up here too. There we go. So I think you know exactly where she is. Yep. Okay, I would think I'm going to add just a little bit more depth to this with the E55. I'm just going to put just a teeny bit more in here. I feel like I want it to stand out just a little bit more in a couple of these areas. So I'm just going to add a bit more, but I'm not going to add any of the other colors. I feel like that will kind of do it for me. Oh, really? In Denison? Wow, it's such a small world. I grew up in Killeen. So for the wraparound, it's going to be orange, and so is our little guy. So before we get rolling with him too far, I'm going to go ahead and do his little blue jean pants first. So I have B99, 97, and 95. Whenever you're coloring on this craft paper, it's usually better to do the darker shades because the lighter ones just don't show up as well. So I'm going to go in with the B99 underneath his arm all the way to his foot. And then right here up against that cup, and all along his foot, just to signify he's got some little shorts in there. TMC in Denison. TMC, I don't know what that is. There we go. And then just getting these shadows in around the bottom there. Worked at TMC and WNJ. Oh, I see. So you guys know what you're talking about. That's okay. You guys talk among yourselves. I also did not know you were a nurse. All right, so I'm just going to extend out from where I put that darkest color. And then kind of work around in a circle so I can stay with the shape of the body. And we only have one other color, so we only need to take care of that part. So I know you guys have seen the new release now that has this little guy in it. Hey, Joy. So were there any other of the stamp sets, like the gamers or the game night or anything like that, that you would like to see specifically on a live? And I can make sure to filter that in. Although I will be traveling next week with Joy. So lives will be sketchy for a week to 2 weeks. It depends on whether I can get a setup going where we're going to be. And if I can, then I'll be able to do them from there. And if not, then I will post and let you guys know that it will be when I get back. So now I'm just doing that back and forth to kind of blend these little pants into more of a smooth color there without washing it out too much, so both sides pretty much match. And that is my goal. Which leads me now down to the last color for him, which we are going to do him in orange, because we're going to make this pumpkin. This is like pumpkin spice. So so I have E39, YR18, YR27, YR16, and then for blending in his ears with the R22, I will need to do YR14 to get that to blend with the orange color. So we have that one on hold for when we need it. And we're going to color the whole body first, and then we'll work on the eyes. So if you want to know how to do eyes, hang in there. We'll get to those here in just a few. E39 is first. And I know I said orange, but I needed something darker than that for the shadow area, so I chose to use this E39 because it has a little bit of a like a reddish orange kind of tint to it, so it matches really well with the orange colors, and that's why I went with 39. So I'm just going to do this part right here that's covered by his face and then his arms, so that would remain pretty dark in contrast to the rest. And then I'm going to do this underside of his finger and arm because they're laying on his lap. And they would be more shadowed than the rest of him. And then we'll do his feet and we'll do his head separately. You'd love to see the coloring on craft? Yeah, I like to color on craft paper. It just, there's an adjustment to it. You have to be testing your colors to make sure they're going to stand out as much as you want them to. Now, I left this little mark in his foot to signify that he had little pads on there. So you can do them in pink or whatever you want. You're too intimidated by coloring on craft with Copics? Oh, you would love them so much. You really would love it. Hey, Sandra, stick around because we are using your dies for this little guy. I'm so glad you popped in. We're going to make him a latte, a pumpkin spice latte man. Now, if I'm wrong on anything related to pumpkin spice or lattes, I can't be held accountable because I don't drink coffee. I want his little toes to have a little bit bigger separation on this particular one. So I'm just building that in with this darkest color. And then we're going to move on. You like him? He's our little tea and coffee guy. He is so much fun. These little guys, they come out of my head. I don't know where they come from. They just do. YR18. You'll notice if you've seen some of my other artwork that I really like these little wiggly, I really love wiggly ears and antennas. He is a chunky cutie. Yeah, he's definitely a little chunky. I don't drink coffee, but I love this little monster. So I'm just going over the edges and stuff where I put that darkest color so we can start blending in this second color with it. And he's actually going to be orange because he's going to be like a pumpkin spice little guy. So this actually, for you guys who don't know, sometimes before my lives, I ask Dale, what should I do on my live tonight? And this was his idea. He was like, you should do, well, first he said I should do the game night one because we just got back from Vegas. But I chose not to do that one because I don't have the actual stamp set yet, so I couldn't show it to you, and I prefer to wait until I can actually show it to you. So I said, what else do you think we should do? And he said, I think you should do a pumpkin spice latte. So that is where we are with this. It could be tea in theory. Yes, it could. And I'm going to make it into that tonight. Appreciate and thank you for your prayers and hugs and loves. Oh, yes. So, I know that there are some people probably that don't like pumpkin spice lattes or whatever, but I know there are a lot that do. Like my daughter really looks forward to this time of year because she likes that pumpkin spice stuff. So yeah, I did say my daughter likes coffee and I don't. I don't know where she got that from, but it wasn't me. And then we're going to go to YR27. I don't normally use this for an orange combination. However, again, like I was saying earlier on craft paper, you really have to test out those colors because you need other colors to marry together. It will still be orange, I promise, when I put the last color on there. But I needed something to transition it. Keep it a little bit darker, but yet still keep the orange tinge. You do like pumpkin spice latte, just not from Starbucks. I never go to Starbucks anymore. I used to because I had a friend that wanted to go to Starbucks every single time that I saw her. But we don't hang out anymore, so I don't ever go to Starbucks. Even the other day, my daughter came by and was like, hey, before we go shopping, can we go to Starbucks? And I was like, can we go to Dutch Brothers? I'd had to go there. And she was like, oh, I forgot you don't like coffee. I was like, nope, I do not. So, yeah. She was happy with her decision at Dutch Brothers, so. I do like Dutch Brothers, and they have like a soda water that you can get that is so yummy. I love it. I have never had a pumpkin spice latte ever. Yes, Dutch Brothers has something for everyone, even my grandson, because they put boba balls in your drink if you want them to, and he loves that. So this is my YR16, which is a very muted kind of orange when you color on regular paper. So I knew this would be a good transition between those other colors without making him an obnoxiously orange dude. So that is why I chose this one. But yeah, my grandson likes to go to Dutch Brothers too. He likes soda, water, drinks with boba balls. I get him a small, but he doesn't really drink it. He just eats all the boba balls out of it. I should just ask him for a cup of boba balls. You like that orange combination? It looks really good on this craft paper for sure. Pretty happy with it. But in all transparency, I tested it on the craft paper before we started. So I just had a scratched piece of paper, craft paper, and I just tested all of my colors, because what you see in the marker and what you see on white paper isn't always what you see on the craft paper. So you really do have to take a little bit of extra time and check it out and make sure that that it's going to blend right. But I am happy with the color that's coming out. It's really good. It's working out exactly how I imagined. So yay! Okay, now we're going to do his face. What paper is that? Well, this is, I want to say, I'm not really sure. It could be the Sweet Sentiment craft paper I had left over, or it could be Nina craft paper, but the Nina craft paper is probably going to be my go-to in the future. This is E39. I don't even know if Sweet Sentiment even has any more craft paper left. They are closing shop, so I don't know what they have left at this point. But Nina Craft is where I would go, I think, for this in the future. But I don't use Nina Craft paper. I mean, I don't use Nina white. I use Hammer Mill. And I like it. I'm very happy with it. I've already used an entire ream of the paper. It's worked out just the way that I needed it to every time I color with it. So I'm really happy with it. So for now, until someone suggests another one that I haven't tried, this will be my go-to for now. Yeah, I really like to color on craft paper, and being that this card is going to be full of coffees and browns, I felt like it was just better to put him on this. And I'll tell you why. I think it's 80-pound Hammer Mill. It's right here. The new pack is right here on the floor. I'll look real quick. So far, people have been picking it up for me. So it's 80 pound, and it has the little chameleon on the front of it. So I use the 80 pound. I don't use the 100 pound. I feel like that would make it too thick for like fussy cutting and things like that, and that would be a little bit frustrating for me. So I have found that sometimes the really thick paper is a little bit harder to cut, so I like to stick with one that's maybe around my Stampin' Up size, which is usually about like that 65 pound or 80 pound is what I usually do. And it goes through the back a little bit on this one, but not too bad. It goes through the other one, the hammer mill, pretty well. But I don't really have any problems because I use the glass mat. I need to order one of those marker thingies from you and Dale. Oh, the marker blend stand? Yeah, we were talking about that the other night when we were watching your videos. By the way, in case people didn't know, Dale and I watch YouTube videos all the time. So we're probably watching yours if you have some. That's the one you have to use Express It too, but honestly I don't like how bright white it is. So with the Express It, and I was what they call like an Express It snob for a really long time, where I was like, nope, I don't want to try any other papers. I'm super happy with the Express It. I'm not changing or whatever. What I noticed was that sometimes when you layer the colors several times, like let's say you were coloring something and it ended up being lighter than you wanted it to be, and you wanted to go over it again and do like another set of colors to darken it up a little bit. When you do that enough with Express It, it will sometimes get shiny and sticky, and that was frustrating to me when I did when I do images that are on 8.5 by 11, like when I did that Star Wars scene for my brother. If you do it on Express It, it gets sticky, and I don't like the sticky. I mean, I have some solutions for what to do if the paper gets sticky, you know, that can help, but they won't fix it. It's not, there's no way to, like, if it's too severe, there's no way to fix it. If you guys were watching a live, I did a live with this, actually. And as you can see how smooth and pretty that blending is in all the red, but look at how blotchy this is down here. And that's because my marker got sticky. There was something wrong with the nib and we had to change it out. So this never made it to a card because this part is messed up. I'll probably cut him out and use him on something else. But if it gets sticky, you can use an eraser to erase some of the sticky. But if you go over it again where the sticky is, it starts moving the ink in a very splotchy way. And you just can't fix that. Once you see it doing that, you got to stop coloring it because it's never going to fix. You got to clean your markers and you got to do all that. And then you can't go over the stickiness with another marker or you'll contaminate that marker as well. So it's very touchy. It does ruin color. Yes, it does. You've gotten stickiness. Yep. And mine usually happens with the really highly pigmented colors. So E29, E49, the R89, the dark colors with a lot of pigment in it is when it happens the most. And that's just not fun when it gets messed up like that. So it becomes waxy. You've had that happen too. Yep. Reds. Yep. Reds will do it. 89, 59, R89 and R59. They do it to me too. They do it to everyone. I mean, it happens to everybody. Gets a sticky marker now and then. The way to avoid it mostly is to keep your caps all cleaned out. Like, look, it's time for marker maintenance on mine. See how there's ink around the edge? I usually try to keep my markers pretty clean, but it's time for quarterly cleaning, so I'll be working on that after I upload the live, and then this weekend before I go on my trip, because I will be taking my markers with me, all of them, the Olo and the Copics, so I'll be taking everything. So I need to do some maintenance before I go so I don't have any problems when I'm actually in a class. That would be very bad. But yeah, you can't really fix it. If you notice it's sticky and you can leave it alone, because I was very lazy about that. Yeah, it's easy to let those markers get away from you, but I could already tell that some of mine are, it's time to refill them. I don't know how many of you know, but I'm really good at weighing my marker by just holding it in my hand like this. I mean, I've held these markers for so long, I can tell when they're low on juice just by rocking them in my hands. So I know that they're ready to be filled. Where am I going? So first I'm going to be doing a show at the end of next week. We will be doing a stamp convention show up in Arizona with Joy. And then since we were going to be there already, we will be attending the Jen Dove boot camp-ish things. She uses Olo markers now, and I thought that would be super helpful for me to learn. Hi, Irina. For me to learn a little bit more on the Olos before I, actually start doing any videos with it. So I need more practice. So I signed up for the boot camp to get a little bit of experience, a little bit more time playing with them, because when I'm at home I just go right straight from my Copics, because I'm familiar with them and I love them. Just because I want to learn how to use another medium does not mean that I will ever be leaving Copics. I will not. I love them too much. But you'll be curious. Yeah, me too, Sandra. She was hardcore Copic. So I have some questions. Of course, I'll try to get some time with her outside of class so that I don't want to ask a bunch of questions in the class. But yeah, I'm going to ask her. I'm really curious, but there's a few things I've learned about the Olos since I started playing with them, and I just would like to hear her take on a couple of those issues that I've had or things that I've noticed since she is actively teaching with Olos. I'll be excited to hear what she has to say. Yeah, she was hardcore Copic and now she's not. And I'm not really sure why, other than a lot of people are switching. There are a lot of people switching from Copics to Olos for different reasons. But so I thought it might be helpful if I could give you guys, those who have them, some coloring with the Olos, so that those who are on the fence or those that have bought them and don't really know exactly how to use them and stuff like that, that I can help. Because if you're not using them and you're not, you can't really answer those questions. But if I'm actively using them and Copics, I will be able to answer those type of questions that some people have. So that's the reason. It does not mean that my videos will change, but it does mean that there will be additional videos with the other markers. So I will take turns with the markers and give some of our other audience a little bit to look at related to Olo. And I think that might make everybody happy. One day I would love to make it to her, but yeah, Peggy, I've never been. But we were already going to be in Arizona. It's kind of pricey. And Joy already was scheduled to go. So I figured since I was going to be with her traveling, I should see if I could get in. And I did. So I get to go do that experience. And I'm excited about it. I really am. But I got my full set of Olos, so I have them, And those that have, I don't know who has Olos. I think she teaches Copic and Olo together, so you can bring either one. There's like a conversion chart that she gives you, I think. But I wanted to have the full set, and this is the way I've decided to put mine together. So I don't know if you guys know, like with the Copic marker, is the whole marker. The marker is the marker. It's that size. So the Olo is a little bit taller and a little bit wider. It's a little bit heavier in your hand because it's thicker. And then it separates. So you can buy an end with a brush nib or an end and an end with a chisel nib, and then you just rotate them together. But in this case, I decided to store mine with a refill on the back. So this is the regular brush nib, and then I've screwed on the refill container. So when this one runs out, I automatically have a refill, and then when I use this one, then I'll purchase another one to put on the end, just so I never am going to run out of ink, because that would drive me crazy. So that's how I've decided to store mine. And then Dale made me a case, which I showed earlier. Hey, Taz. So we're going to leave this, like this outside part right there, like the whites of his eyes, and then we're going to color the inside as his eyeballs. So you were confused about that? Yeah, I was a little bit confused. They sell it as your way. You can order 2 brush nibs, you can order brush and chisel, or you can do it however you want. But I didn't want the chisel because I use that for large backgrounds, but I don't use it often enough to have to purchase an entire one with that nib on it. And I didn't want to purchase 2 full sets just to get a full size marker. So I put the refill on the end. And you can buy handles to put on there instead. If you just want to buy half a marker and buy a handle, you can do that as well. So there's a lot of options. You just can decide which one works best for you. That's the way that I chose to do it. It's not right or wrong. It's just whatever your own personal preference is. I put the two brush nibs on one. Yeah, see, Peggy, that's how a lot of people did it, was that way they would have a second one. But did you know that if you purchase the refill instead of a second one with the nib, then the second one, it's cheaper as a refill than it is as a full half marker. Plus, for me, when I was playing with Joys that had 2 on both ends, I was like, how do you know which one you're using most of the time? Because you're not going to know if one runs out, you're not going to know how much you have left in the other one if you don't know which one you've been using. And I'm real big on, I don't want to run out of ink. That's why I have all the Copic refills. And anytime I get to a third left in the container, I order another one, so I never run out of Copics. You'd likely do what I did. Yeah, it just makes it easier that way. I mean, that's what I've found out so far. I'm going to zoom back in now so you guys can see the eyes while I do it. But that's just what works for me. But anyone can do it. You know, you can do it whatever way works best for you. So in order to make these eyes stand out a little more, I'm adding some of the darkest color to the outside part, and I'm holding the marker upright so I can get a very, very thin line. And what I will tell you is the learning curve I've learned so far with the Olo is that the nib is softer and more flexible than this one is. And it's more saturated with ink because of the way that the whole like contraption inside of it works. So it's a little bit harder and more challenging to get these teeny tiny thin lines. It's just going to take a lot of practice to get to it. I don't think it's impossible to do, but I do think I have a lot more control over my Copic markers than the other ones. And some of that could be learning curve, you know, but I really think the nibs are a little bit different, and you definitely are going to have a learning curve time with that. So I went around the outside and around the inside, the outside of the inside of his eye, if that makes sense. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and put these lines here that will show what his eyeball would really look like. Since these eyes are so big, you're going to be able to see this as we go through the process a little bit more than you have been able to see on much tinier images in the past. So if you've been wanting to learn like how to do eyes, this is going to be a great one to watch. So there we go. That's the beginning. And we're using the same colors that we used on his little jeans. So that was B99. This is B97. And what I'm going to do is just go around and soften up that little edge that I put down there. This one is still fairly dark, so I don't want to get a lot of color in there. And then I'm going to do a few of these little lines going from the opposite direction. You know, because in your eyes, you can always see it going both directions. Now, if the image is really small, I don't generally go both directions. But because this image is big enough, you can see how much more detail it's going to put in that eye to have them going from both ways. You hear the bullet nibs are coming soon. I was most likely change to those. Yeah, you know, I would say test a few before you do all of them to make sure that it's what you want. Because when they came out with those for Copics, I was like, oh, I'm going to be switching all of mine. I'm going to just switch them all because I just will like that so much better. It'll be easier to get tiny lines and everything. And what I can tell you is I replaced like 3 of the chisel nibs, like on black, the colorless blender, and the skin tone, the most used skin tone, like E00. And I hated them. I felt like I had no control over that nib. I mean, I absolutely hated them. And that could have been because I have a lot of experience with the Copic marker that I can make those tiny, like those tiny lines. But with once you make it a regular nib, I mean, I just could not control that. And I ended up taking those back off, putting the other ones back on, and never buying the whole set. So I would just recommend that you test it first, like buy one set, replace it, play with those markers, and make sure you like it. Some people love it, but just make sure you like it before you invest in all the new nibs. Just want you to be happy with what you do. So that last color I filled in, but I kind of did it in sort of spot motions so that I didn't blend out all the lines in my eyes. Oh, they do, Sandra. Yep, they do. So Sandra said she heard people say that the Olos, like they do that blob of ink. They do, and I'll tell you why. So I'm not good with any markers. I just go, okay, Peggy, you might actually like it then. So with the Copic marker, there's a core in here that kind of controls when the ink is released. With this one, there is no core inside there. There's like a little chain, like a change section where it holds a little bit of ink. And when your nib touches the paper, it releases the ink. So it sits in that little storage area right here. Well, when you're opening and closing these markers, they work like a vacuum. And they kind of suck that juice up to the front. So if you open and close them too many times, it'll blob right on your paper. I've opened it and it just splattered everywhere. So they say they want you to leave your markers open while you're coloring, and it might not happen as often. I have some slight concerns about that, but I'll leave that for another time. But they do say if you leave them open, they won't do it as often. And then you got to nurse your markers because taking the cap off doesn't help. And there is no other end to release the pressure. I mean, it's just there. So I've had that with a couple of them, but not so bad that like, I only ruined one test subject when I was doing it. So it wasn't too bad for me, but I think you definitely have to have like another piece of paper you're opening it up on, because when I was doing, let me see if I have it right here. When I was doing the color charts for Olos, I noticed that when I opened, I think it was on the other paper. Oh yeah. Let me grab it real quick and I'll show you what happened to me when I opened it with my paper in front of me. You have to be careful because it splatters. The Copics don't splatter like that on me. But I was doing these color charts and you'll notice, like, seriously, I do a lot of testing when I decide to do this stuff. So they're so new to the market that I'm just wanting to hear all the pros and cons. Yeah, I'll be doing some more videos on the pros and cons and ways I feel, Sandra, coming in the future. So also you can always PM me and ask. I feel like it wastes a lot of ink. The only thing you can do is take a paper towel to absorb that. Yeah, it does. So I was coloring this, and as you can see all the spots that pop out on the paper? Those are because I opened the marker and the ink went, I mean, it just sometimes will splatter your paper. So you want to make sure that you, when you're coloring and opening, closing the markers, that you're paying attention to what you're doing so that you don't end up with too much splotchy stuff all over your paper. So I started doing mine with like a scrap piece of paper off to the side, and I just opened the markers over that piece of paper so it doesn't ruin my project that I'm working on. So that's kind of my hint. Now that the eyes are dry, I'm going to use that G00 in a horseshoe type motion just to kind of start working that color for that eyeball effect. So I'll do it several times and then I'll wait just a second to let it dry and see what happens. Yes, and that's all I'm gonna give, Sandra, is exactly what I think. I'm gonna go and listen to everything that's said about it at the boot camp, and I read everything that Olo has out on their website, blog, and etc. I've researched the markers on my own. I've run the price comparisons. I've done like all the legwork so that when I'm ready to answer questions, I can answer them honestly and truthfully. So I am trying to get all of that done, which is why I haven't done the video yet, because I still have a few things in question that I'm hoping that Jen Dove can help me with when I go to see them. Just things where I've heard conflicting information and I just want to verify. Okay, so what we did was we just ran this marker. This is G00, just in that half moon around until it started moving the ink. And now you can see that the eyes just look so much more realistic. I'll be excited to see what you say after boot camp. Yeah, because I'll be using them at boot camp too. But I'm also taking my Copics because honestly, I just got the brand new ones, so the 32 brand new colors. So I have not had a chance to play with them yet, so I cannot speak to them. However, without them, I struggled with skin tones for sure. So I want to have my Copics there just in case I need them for skin tone colors. Okay, so I am going to take a multi-liner. This is the 0.5 multi-liner. It's a pretty big nib. And I'm going to go around the inside part of his eyes just to make them darker because I feel like it makes them stand out more, and that's a personal opinion, but I just like them better that way. So I tend to do that when I'm doing eyes. I don't want to make the outside of the eyes stand out. I just want the pupil. So you can kind of see the difference between how much darker that one looks and this one. And once I put the white in it, it's just amazing. So I always do this step when I'm doing eyes. Just, I mean, that Memento is dark. It's black. It's just not as crisp and pop as I would like it to be. So I go over it with a multi-liner just to make sure I get that really dark black look. And then I wait before I use the white gel pen because the black is wet and it'll change the white to a gray. So always let the eyes completely dry before you put any white gel pen on them. I also noticed that we missed the little label that's across here, and I really want to do that in those orange colors. So I'm going to go back to the orange color combination, but I'm going to leave out the E39 because I don't feel like it needs to be quite as dark as the rest of him. So I'm going to start with the YR27, which doesn't really look all that orange, but it will when I'm done. So you can see that it makes the eyes pop. Yeah, that's the little trick that I like to do. YR16 is the next color, and this one will make it look that more orange. And I'm just working that little transition spot right there just so it blends really well. And then we're going to use YR14 to finish out that blend. It'll make this part a little bit lighter, which I can see in real life, but it isn't real clear on camera. So it's just a little bit lighter than the rest of him. And we'll probably put some white gel pen on there too, just to make that like really stand out. I think I'm going to use my R22 for the hearts right here, but I need a darker color as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab something like, let's try RV14 and see if it will do the pinky, yeah, that I'm looking for. Yeah, that'll be great. Okay, so we're gonna mix those two colors together for our little hearts. So RV14, I'm gonna do the bottom side of the hearts. And I'm gonna kind of do most of them the same. They're laying differently on here, but they're all gonna be shaded the same way. I don't know how they'll be on the card, but it doesn't really matter that much. It's a little heart. So this one would be sitting like this as well. And what I'm really trying to do is just get a little bit of change between the colors so that you can see a difference. That's about it. So then I'm just going to go with one little clean sweep over there and then see how you can see the two differences in colors. If you blend too much, you'll lose that. So that's why we're just doing a quick little one sweep over top. We're not blending, we're just adding the color. So I want to leave the variation going on there. Now, I know a lot of you have popped on since the beginning of the show, so I will talk again real quick about the dyes that I'm using for this. Let me zoom out. If I can get my... There we go, there we go, there we go. All right, so I want to put a bit of this white gel pen, so I'm going to do his little eye right here, if I can get this white gel pen. My white gel pen's almost dead. I have used the heck out of these white gel pens. So I'm just going to put just a little bit there. And if I hold him up, you can really see how, now look how his eyes pop. That white against that black is amazing. And then because his teeth look brown because the paper is craft, I'm just going to touch a little bit inside where his teeth are so that his teeth don't look like he got them dyed from all the coffee he drinks. Although that would be funny. But we're going to give him white teeth. I think that will really make it cute. So we are going to do that. So I'm just really filtering this white pen into the teeth area instead of trying to do it with like light grays and stuff. I just think the white will really help. It'll also help on the pop, making the whole thing pop and look really cool. So, see, it looks so much better with this teeth white, I think. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of this white gel pen to some of these areas on the top, these little things that look a little bit like sesame seeds. I don't know why I made them look like sesame seeds, but they just kind of do to me. I'm not going to put any on the arms. I just want them on the top of his head. And then I'm going to put a little one right here and a little one right here. And you could just put them wherever you want. It's whatever works for you. And then there was, oh, and then I want to put a little bit on the heart. So probably just on the one side of the big heart. I just want a little bit on there. Just so we have a little bit of difference between that. So there we go. There is our cute little guy. So the die we're using tonight, I know we talked about it briefly earlier, and I want to show it to you again now because it's really totally amazing. If I can find it. There it is. This is the coffee and tea guy that we're using right now, but this is the die set. This is the Sassy Meal Dies. So from the Sassy Club, we're using this one, which is, I mean, it could be a soda, or what we're going to do is, because that doesn't look like a coffee, is we're going to add this topper, which you could add for a Slurpee or a Frappuccino or whatever. So we're going to add this topper to it in order to make it look like a pumpkin latte. But this die set also has a Happy Meal and extra straws and stuff. So it's really neat. I love it. So I have already cut the pieces to make this just a little bit faster. I couldn't decide whether I wanted to use the vanilla color topper or a craft color topper. So we have two just in case, because I'm not really sure which one I want to use. But I wanted to put it on a slimline card. So I took my slimline card, which is 8.5 by 3.5. And then I cut a pattern paper 1/4 of an inch smaller all the way around so we would have it to place on top. And then we have our cup, which we're going to work on right now because we need to put that together before we can put our cute little coffee latte guy on here. So I felt like this one might be too white to put on here, but once I added the pattern paper, I think this one is actually going to look better than the craft. I mean, I like the craft one, but on top of here, I felt like this one just looks better. So I think we're going to go with that one. Now, when you die cut this piece right here, this cup, it die cuts it like this. So you get the top part as a separate piece. Now, you could just place them together, or you could place this one on top just a little bit and glue it on there like that, and you would have your soda. But what we're going to do is we're going to put this one instead. And then I wanted an orange straw because, you know, hey, because we're using the Coffee Monster. So I was going to double up this part and put the straw through there, but then it wasn't really tall enough for me. Like, I wanted the straw to be quite a bit taller. I know there's another straw in the die set, but I felt like the curved straw reminds me more of soda than of a latte. So what I thought was I would attach this, like just put glue on this part right here and attach it however I wanted the straw to be sticking out. So I just wanted to get that part together. And then we'll just trim off this excess piece, and that way we'll have like a good support for that straw staying on there. And what I'll probably do is pop up this part anyway so that it's a little bit higher than the cup, so it like really stands out. So I'm okay with it being like that, or we could put this one behind it and make it stronger and not have to worry about the different layers. And since I already cut it out, I think I'll just do that, and I'll just make it easier. It'll be a little bit thicker. It'll be exactly what I'm looking for. Not too far popped up, but just definitely enough that I'll just put this one on here, since we wanted to use the off-white one instead of the vanilla one instead of the craft one. And I used this same tool that we used for our stamping platform. I used that to press everything together and spread the glue out. It's super helpful to do that rather than doing it with your hands. But you can do it either way, whichever way you desire. When I cut out this little straw, it cuts at the top of that cup. So what I did was I kept the orange piece that I cut, and I moved it down to where I wanted it to sit on the cup, like that. And then I just trimmed off the extras so that I would have this cup look similar to the cup that he has right here. So we're going to put this part on as well, onto the front of the cup. So this is kind of fun. You could cut more cups, and you could make this cup into a shaker, or you can make this cup into a card if you wanted. I mean, there's so many options. This die set is really neat. I like it. A latte. See what I did there? And then this part will need to go on here. So this is why I chose a slimline card, because I knew that my cup was going to be very tall. So, and I had to put my little monster on there, so I want my cup to be up here. We're going to have to cut out our little monster so we know exactly how far up we can put the cup. But look at that cup. Isn't that cup cool? Where did I get that tool? Oh, this one? The Pajama Crafter Stamps. Dale designed it, and we now sell it through Pajama Crafter Stamps. So it's a soda pop. It says, let's get physical, like fizz. It's funny, huh? Physical. That's really cute. I've never read that. I didn't realize it said that. Okay. These are my favorite scissors to cut with. They are from Crafter's Companion. I don't know how old they are. I know that the ones that they have now have a gray handle, but these have a purple handle, so you guys know I'm all over that. We do have to cut these out because I haven't gotten my dies yet, but it's okay. I'm not a real slow, fussy cutter. I'm kind of just a wing it on the fly kind of girl, so it won't take us that long. I'm just going to cut this sentiment out. And really, all you have to do when you cut out a sentiment like this is decide where, you know, how much of the outside you want to leave, and then just kind of wiggle your paper as you cut. And it just kind of all comes together the way you need it to. There we go. Done. It's pretty simple. We're going to also do the same thing with these hearts. We have 3 sets, but I want them to be separate. So I'm going to do the same kind of cutting. I'm just going to cut like pretty close to the hearts, and in between but I'm not going to separate them. I'm going to leave 3 together. Just going to cut some of this in between stuff out, so I don't have too much of the craft paper showing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. They're hearts. People are going to notice the hearts, not how you fussy cut it. There's one. You love it? You love the cup die? I do too. I mean, think of, we could make this a Slurpee. We could make it a shaker box. I mean, there are so many things we could do with this. I just love it. And it pairs so perfectly with both the soda monster that we have in the shop, the soda pop little monster. You could make the soda and you could put him with that. Or he works really great for the latte or tea or boba tea. You put the little boba balls in there. I love the boba balls. So there is so much you can do with this set. And on top of that, it comes with a Happy Meal. So you can make Happy Meals too. I mean, how cool is that? You get 2 for 1, man. I love it. Here's this one. Last one here. And then all we have left is our little coffee guy. And he's not too hard to cut out. I'd rather have the die, but I don't mind fussy cutting, but if I have the die, I prefer to use the die. I like instant, quick gratification, so I like to just die cut and be done. I have a scan and cut, but then I gotta set it up, and I gotta go over there and take the cover off and turn it on, and I'm just lazy. I'm craft lazy. So, I just don't want to do it. I do it if I have large projects where I have to cut like 100 of something. Then it's super helpful because that would take me a really long time to fussy cut. But if it's just one item while I'm on the live, I just prefer to die cut it, but I don't have them yet, so we'll have to wait till I get them. But for now, we gotta cut them out. So here we go. Move your paper, not your scissors, and you can cut faster. And you get better lines, and everything just works a little better. I don't like the little tails hanging off. They get in my way, so I usually cut them off. This is the only part that's a little challenging, would be these little antennae, but if you move the paper and not your scissors, you'll be able to do it just fine. See how easy that was? It went just smooth, smooth, smooth. So move the paper, not the scissors. We're going to do that one more time so you can see, but not with that little tail on there. So we're just going to curve the paper around. Cut. Keep cutting. Keep turning the paper. And then that way you can get all that cut out and you don't really have to worry about it. But if you're trying to move your scissors around, it's a lot harder to do than it is to just move the paper that you're cutting. So that's my tip for the day on fussy cutting. And don't worry if you cut too far. Honestly, you can just lay the paper down, run your fingernail over it, and you can't even tell there was a cut there. So there's a lot of quick, easy fixes for stuff like that. I'm going to cut this just a little bit thinner. And this is why I like the craft paper for this project, is what I'm going to show you right now. So let's just say, for instance, I have some other images already cut out. So I'll show you what I mean with one of those. Because, yes, I keep a box of all of my images that are already cut out and so forth. I'll try to find one. I was going to try to find one that's still available, but... Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got Fred Flintstone here. And he even happens to be orange, too. Okay, so when I put this card, this image up against this card, you don't notice the outside gray, tan part as much as you would if I stuck this on there with a big white outline. Because the rest of it is vanilla colored, I don't like that big white outline around it. So that's why I chose to do the craft, because I felt like the craft would blend in more with the project. So that's why we used craft paper. So for comparison, hopefully that helped. You love it, and you love the cup die. I love the cup die. So all we have to do is put on our I Love You a Latte and our hearts and our little guy, and we'll be finished. So we're going to pop him up so he looks like he's sitting way in front of the paper. And yes, this is fishing paper. It's just the back side, because I needed something that looked somewhat like coffee, and I don't drink coffee, so I don't have any coffee paper. So this is fishing paper with fishing lures on the back, but no one will know except for you guys, because you happen to be here while I was making it. So shh, don't tell anyone. Okay, I'm just centering that. This glue gives me a couple of seconds to shift if I get something off center. Then I use this tool again to press it all down, spread the glue, make sure I got a good hold. There we go. And now we're going to put together our cup. And I think what I want to do is put our cup up high enough that the straw is at the very top of the card. And then I think I want the sentiment to go in on the cup like this, where it says, I love you, a latte. Because I mean, even that's just cute by itself. But then you got this like adorable little monster to go with it. And I kind of want him to be off to the side. Look at how small he looks compared to that great big cup of coffee. I think I'm going to move it down just a little bit. And we'll put him on the side like this, and we'll leave the I Love You a Latte. I think I'll move that over just a tad. There we go. And then we have these cute little hearts, and of course we'll add some bling as well, but I think we need one of them here. And then the other two, we can put them up here. Maybe one over here and one over here. Or we'll put this one over here. We'll just turn them a little bit different so I kind of like them like that. Okay, so we now have them on there, and then we'll put, I have some coffee color bling that we can put on there. So let's go ahead and put this I Love You a Latte on the front. So I'm just going to glue the back. I'm going to use my tweezers to place it on there. Make sure it's centered. Just like that. I'm going to wait on that one until I place these on there. I'm going to leave my straw cup part right there so I know exactly where I want to place this. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. And we want it to be under that, so I'm going to lay this down. Sort of center that cup, and then usually I take it and flip it over and rub it with that this to spread the glue out again. I don't do it on the front because the glue gives you a little bit of time to move stuff around, and if you do it on the front, sometimes you can shift your image, and I don't want to, so I always flip it over and do it on the back. Just makes it easier that way. Now we're going to, I think I'm going to put, think I'm going to put, I have all these little pieces of foam tape stuff. And I think I'm going to put a little piece on the straw so it looks like it's sticking up. I need it to be pretty thin though. I think it'll be cute if it looks like the straw is sticking up. So we're going to do it just on this part right here. There you go. And then we're going to put glue on the rest of it so we can stick it on here. Got a glue booger on the top of my glue bottle. That's what I call that anyway. Remember, this is double thick. We did it earlier. Now that I just threw it in my, almost in my lap. And we're going to, I'm not going to take the tape off of that, the top part of that straw yet until I get this placed exactly where I want it. I can't wait to make this into a Slurpee too. You guys, I love Slurpees. So, I have to figure out how to cut it with acetate so I can make it clear so I can put the Slurpee color behind it. I think that'd be so fun. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of playing with that one before I do that one on a live, but I can't wait. Okay, so now the straw is sticking up just a little bit. There's a few little shavings from the die cut, so I just want to make sure I get those off. There we go. Now the straw is sticking up just a little bit, not a whole lot, but enough. And then this little guy, I want him to stick up too. So I'm going to use this piece of foam. See if we can get, we probably need to snip the edges. And that's okay, we can put him on his ear, his little, we can put him on his little antenna. Okay. These are the scraps from when I did like a full sheet on the back of a card. And I saved the scraps so that I can use them for other purposes. Oh, these will be great in his ears. So that his ears don't get pushed down. And we'll do the same thing with this one on the other side. That's why I love these tweezers. With my fingernails, I can't do any of this stuff. So tiny, so hard. Okay, we need another little one for the antennas. So I'm going to go ahead and cut another tiny strip here. I do have one left over from the straw. So I'm just going to place that one on there. And then I'm going to put this one on there. I just don't like anything to be sticking up. What I mean is, I don't like anything to be where if you're making it a pop up, I don't want you to turn it over and then like his feet sink down. That bothers me a lot. So I make sure to be really, really careful with that. I wonder if there was a die included to cut a window out. There was not. There was not. However, that doesn't mean, and Sandra was here earlier. I'm not sure if she's here now, but there might be another, like, I know she has some sets with like squares and rectangles and stuff. So there might be another one that works in comparison with this one. I just don't know the answer to that. So, but you could definitely ask her because she designed them. So she'll know the answer to that question pretty easily. And then we need small pieces for the little feet, because we definitely don't want the feet to sink down. I know it would be great if there was a window cut out for that one, but I know that she's made it into a shaker card. I think I have seen that actually on a video that she made, so there's got to be a way to do it. I just haven't asked that question yet. So I bet she could answer that question. She has little ones, so she could be putting them to bed. So sometimes she walks away for a little bit from the live. So that might be, if she's not answering now, she may have walked away for a little bit. Okay. We'll just put one more right here just so it doesn't sink down. Now I'm peeling off the papers so I can stick my little guy on the card. Man, this is almost easier to do with my finger than it was. It's easier to place them down with the tweezers. It's easier to pull them off with the fingernails. So we're gonna put this little guy, I kind of want him to look like, I don't want him to look like he's too far away from the cup. So I want him to kind of be like, oh my goodness, come on. Kind of like right at the bottom of the cup, like this. And he's popped up, so he looks like he's in front, which I love, 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 love. And then we got to put these on there, and then we're going to put some, we're also going to put some dots on there, because why not, right? There we go. Gonna hold those down real quick with my press pop again. I use this tool all the time. There we go. Then we need to, we have 2 more sets of hearts, but I want to see what the bling looks like before I stick those actually on the card. We may put them on the inside. Here's my bling box. I know I have like some brown coffee-ish. So I have those. Those are green. I used to have ones that said coffee color, but I like this color right there. That's the one I'm looking for to see if I have any more. I also have this vanilla one that would work as well, but I'm looking for one that's a little bit more brown. So give me just a second, because I have quite a few of these. Nope, I think those are going to be my best choices. So I'll take them out so we can compare them and see what we think. This one. That one looks a little bit more gray than brown, even though it is brown. Not really a fan of that one so much. This one, I really like that one. That one blends in a lot. That's a good one. Let's try this one. This is how I test my colors for reals. I kind of like that one. What do you guys think? Any opinions out there? Brown or vanilla colored dots? This one or this one? What do you think? White? Brown. Whoever comments first, I'll use that one. White, brown, white, brown. White or brown. Vanilla or chocolate. Vanilla or chocolate. Are you vanilla or are you chocolate? Vanilla or chocolate? Haha, chocolate wins. Okay. Sweet. Awesome. Look, everybody's agreeing tonight. That doesn't happen all the time. Okay, pretty sure these are the Pioneer Gloss name. And now I'm going to use my little tweezers to pull these off. I mean, I just think that these will look cuter with these than with the hearts. So that's why I wanted to kind of check this out. I don't press them down firmly in case I want to remove them. 3. I feel like we need 3 sets of 3. So this one will go here. I like it with the dots on it. This one will go over here. The medium one will go up here. And then we'll put little ones over here, like a medium and 2 littles on this side. And then 2 littles I'll put them a little bit closer together so they look different than the other ones. Oops, that one went flying. I found it. If I could pick it up, that would be grand. There we go. Put that one over there. So we have 9 on there. I don't know that I want to use, maybe I'll put some of these here. I kind of like it there. With the hearts or without the hearts? What do you think? I might actually cut out this sentiment later and put it at the bottom where it says friends and coffee are the perfect blend, because it might fit down there perfectly. But for now, what do you think? Shall we put the hearts? Shall we add the hearts? With. Okay, here we go. Mom says with. So we might as well put them on there. We colored and cut them. We might as well add them. So right there. I knew once I had the bling on there, it would come together exactly where I wanted it to. And then I'm going to use my press pop to press down the hearts and all of the bling, since I know that's where I want it to be. And then we are all finished. So this is our I Love You a Latte card. It'll open up. And then always, always, always sign your work. So make sure you don't forget to do that part, because it's very, very, very important. Importante to sign your work all the time. That way when people get it, they know who made it. And there it is. Isn't he cute? I'm going to hold him up close so you can really see him. He's so cute. He came out really good. I'm very happy with him. He's so stinking adorable. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you guys like these images that have come out. I hope you like the die from Sassy Club. And I hope that you will join me again soon. I will keep you updated, so watch the Facebook group. Since I'll be traveling again to Arizona, I'm not really sure exactly. I may have to move some dates around, but once I get back, we'll be back to normal with our Tuesday and Thursday. So just hang in there. In the meantime, you can catch speed coloring videos. I will be posting almost daily on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So you can catch those in the meantime while you're waiting. I will have those pre-recorded and be able to post them every day. So, yeah, so just watch that until you can get your fix again when I can be live again. So thank you for joining me. I love these little guys. If you want, you can get them from Pajama Crafter Stamps. Just say Sandy sent you. You watched the video. And thanks so much, you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Good night.